am your host, Mashuma Saba, M. Saba, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast. This is Thursday night sports show, and I am your host, Mashuma Saba, M. Saba, and this is the Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast show. Welcome. How are y'all doing today, this evening? Welcome. So as you know, it's Thursday night sports. We typically come in on Wednesdays, but this year for 2025, we're alternating the middle of the week. So we're going to be still appearing on our Wednesday night sports, but also there's going to be alternate weeks where we will appear on Thursday nights. And this just happens to be the night. So it's Thursday night sports. Again, welcome. And peace to y'all. You know what I'm talking about? As I stated earlier, I am M. Saba. You can call me Mashuma. You can call me Dot, whatever you feel comfortable with. But welcome to the show. And tonight, we got a good show lined up in store. Tonight, we're going to talk about purgatory teams. You know what I mean? When we were putting this show together, I just happened to be thinking about teams that either get so close to winning the championship or teams that, you know, cost hundreds of dollars to attend their games and they don't win, or they're never in contention, or they're mediocre at best. And so I felt like, you know, tonight I want to give our fans, our followers, our supporters a great discussion. I thought tonight would be the night that we talk about purgatory teams. So if you're with me tonight, make sure that you go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure you share that we are on right now. You can catch us on YouTube right now. You also can catch us on Facebook, Coffee Talk Podcast with Mashuma Saba, if you're interested. And so we're going to talk about purgatory teams. So if you with me tonight, go ahead and put it in the chat. Teams that you thought were just sorry ass teams. You know what I mean? They might have the coldest uniforms and they were sorry, or they always elected to have a sorry coach that couldn't move men, you know what I mean? Couldn't inspire men, or, you know, they might have missed a shot at as the shot clock expired or the game clock expired. They might have fumbled the football, you know what I mean? Or they just have bad luck getting draft picks. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And that is purgatory sports teams. Now, if you're new to the show, Coffee Talk Podcast, we are a cultural variety podcast show, and we appear 3 days a week. And you know, we like to appear on Sunday or Mondays. We call that Cultural Studies Night. And when we talk about cultural studies, man, it's such a broad subject of our culture, because our culture is the original culture. And again, when I say that, I don't want people to take offense to that truth. But, you know, on Sunday, Monday, alternate weeks, we love to give you what we call Cultural Studies Night. So we like to give props to our doctors, our lawyers, our scholars, our athletes, our poets, our writers, our authors, whatever. You know what I mean? We love to give props to our people. And that's what we're about here at Coffee Talk Podcast. Then on alternate weeks, which is Wednesday and Thursdays, we like to go ahead and give you sports stories. That's right, sports stories. And we don't really care about who won or lost the game. You know what I mean? Not on this sports show. We don't care about who won or lost. What we like to do is give you the different intricacies that's going on behind the scenes in the world of sports, especially when it involves our people. You know what I mean? And then on Friday, Saturday nights, we call that grown folks social hour. That's right. If you're not going out or you're staying at home with your family, you want to place you some cool jazz music in the background, or you want to watch one of the dopest podcasts in the Twin Cities, you're going to go ahead and check out Coffee Talk Podcast. This is the Cultural Variety Podcast show. And on the weekend, that is Grown Folks Social Hour. That's right. That's where you can come in and let your hair down. I don't got no hair, as y'all can see, but you can let your hair down, pick your feet up, and enjoy a little something. You know what I'm saying? So, welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast. Now, if you're new, this is how we start our show. We start our show with flavor because we love you. We want to give you some flavor on something that's just healthy. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we start the show. We call that the flavor. Then we go into what we call wise words. That's right, wise words. Wise words is just that. They're quotes, they're poems of our people, people that we enjoy watching, supporting, remembering, reflecting on. You know what I'm saying? So we give you the wise words, and normally they're motivational quotes to keep us pushing. You know what I mean? And then we go right into the topic. So let's go ahead and enjoy tonight. Are you with me? Let me know you're with me. Hit the like button. Fire it up, man. Let's get some likes tonight. You know what I mean? Don't tell me you saw the show and didn't hit the like. Hit the like button, man. I really would appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so listen. Tonight's flavor. We almost double backing because just the other day when we started our show for our first show for 2025, the flavor was watermelon, and we gave you the benefits of watermelon. But we're going to double back again. But this time we're going to talk about watermelon water. You know what I mean? You know they sell that, right? Go ahead and get you some, man. Go ahead and get you some watermelon water. You know what I mean? And the reason why I selected watermelon water for tonight's flavor is because all across the country, it's hot right now. Yeah, it is hot. We're going through a heat wave. Down south, they're starting to see triple digits. You know what I mean? And up north, it's been, it's been in the 90s pretty much for the last week, maybe 10 days or so. You know what I'm saying? I think we got one day when it was about 85. It was borderline 90s. That was the other day. But for the most part, man, I'm enjoying it, especially being a northerner. I'm enjoying it because you know how it can get cold. But I will say this to all my other podcasters and media friends throughout the United States. Y'all give Minnesota a bad rap, man, when it comes to cold. Yes, it can be cold. And you're right. You're going to be like, bullshit. Y'all be getting 10 below degrees, with the snow. I messed that up. You ain't had to laugh at that. Yeah, but y'all get the message, right? But yeah, man, it used to get like that, I should say. We don't really get too far below. Now, will some winds come through, some gusts? Absolutely. And, with it being that cold, yeah, it can't get about 3 below. Don't get it twisted now, maybe for 1 or 2 days. Yeah, somebody just said I'm being nice. Okay, maybe 3 days. But for the most part, it usually hovers around, 10 degrees, 20. Some of y'all saying, well, that's still cold. It's not that cold, man. We get used to it. But I will say this, a story that is true about our state when it comes to our winters. We do got what we call black ice. So, man, if you ain't really paying attention, you walking down the street, slip. You're going to slip and bust your damn head open. You know what I mean? Because our ice can get dark. You don't see it. From all the carbon smoke and all that, and vehicles and buses and trains and everything, just pushing out that type of air. You know what I mean? So that is what it is. Yeah, you get dusted. Have you ever got dusted on black ice? Go ahead and leave that in the comments. Tell us a short, quick story in the comments how you got jacked up on some ice during one of those Minnesota winters, man. We'd love to hear about it, no doubt. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in to the flavor. So the flavor is watermelon water. You're supposed to say why. I'm going to get that edited in there. Why? Well, tonight, the benefits of watermelon water is that it's 92% water. I said 98 the other day. It depends on who you ask, but it's it's between 92 and 98% water. It contains potassium and magnesium, which are essential electrolytes that will help with, cell damage. It helps with chronic disease. You know what I mean? It helps with muscle soreness. It helps to improve your digestion. Get all that stuff up out of you. If you ain't going number 2 at least every day, you might want to check on that for real. Hey, that ain't nothing to laugh at, but we do encourage people to check their health. And then it also has citrulline in it, you know what I mean? And that definitely helps. You know what I mean? That definitely reduces muscle soreness. It also helps the blood flow much better. And for the guys, you may want that, especially when you start to get up there in age, man. You know what I'm saying? They say watermelon is a Viagra, and I am a firm, firm, firm person that agrees to that. Watermelon is a Viagra. Hey, it is, man. Y'all better stop taking that honey and them whatever them pills are that's being advertised. I know what the side effects are. Get you some natural fruit. You heard me? All right, so let's go ahead and move on into the wise words tonight. Tonight's wise words come from somebody that is known as a champion. You know what I mean? He's known as a champion. He was born in Brooklyn. A lot of people don't know that. That's a fun fact. But actually, raised in, Carolina. Went to University of North Carolina. Man, he's the one that made us start watching the Final Fours and all that, man. You know what I mean? Took a shot that beat my team, Georgetown, back in the days. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about no other than Michael Jordan, number 23, number 45, number 23. You feel me? Number 23, number 45, number 23. Indeed. And when he gets ready to go, retire all three jerseys, NBA. Just like you did Kobe's, but retire all three of Mike's. You know what I mean? Well deserved. Okay, so Michael Jordan's wise words is this. This quote is about overcoming limitations. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and talk about it. Michael Jordan's wise words is this. Never say never because limits like fears are often just an illusion. We're going to say that again. Michael Jordan's quote for overcoming limitations. Michael Jordan said, never say never because limits like fears are often just an illusion. Hey, y'all, also, I'm so observant. Make sure I shade right here. You know what I'm saying? My camera's kind of dim in the studio tonight. And I just got done shaving. I know I did a rush job. You know what I mean? Shit, I cut the back of my head. If you have not cut the back of your head while shaving, you ain't in the Bald Head Men's Club. You're not part of the Bald Head Men's Club. But anyway, man, wasn't that a great quote by Michael Jordan, man? No doubt. Never say never because limits like fears are often just an illusion. Sometimes you be so afraid to try something that you don't want to try it, and you miss out on opportunities. Sometimes you be so scared that you get yourself beat up. Sometimes you be so scared that you don't think critically and you make a mistake, and you could be laying in jail. Sometimes we put so much fear into things that messes with our rational thinking, our progress, and our ability to overcome and achieve. So, shouts out to Michael Jordan. We call him the GOAT, huh? No doubt. I'm glad I got to see his career from start to finish. You know what I mean? From start to finish, even when he quit. You know what I mean? Mike was the man. And, he doesn't get a lot of respect in his Washington years. Why? Because, we live in those times where everybody, before they can say something nice about anything, they have to say something bad about it first. That's the era that we live in when we're talking to people. You can say something nice like, hey, man, Miss Johnson made a nice apple pie yesterday. And they're a hater, come out the bushes, jump out the plane on a parachute, swim across the ocean, or get off the train and say, no, she don't. No, she don't. No, she don't. There's always a hater, man. But you know what they say, man? If you ain't got no haters, baby, you ain't working hard enough. You feel me? Yeah. No doubt. Hey, let me know where you watching the show from, man. Go ahead and leave a comment. let us know where you watching the show from. Make sure you tell your friends, family, man. We got a little bit of something for everybody. Our cultural studies night, man. You can bring the kids in here to watch the show. You can bring, the elderly. Turn the show on for the elderly, man. You know what I mean? They will enjoy themselves. So we got a little bit of something for everybody. We also got something for the college kids. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that y'all's checking out Coffee Talk Podcast. Big shout out to all the HBCUs. Big shout out to Alcorn. You know what I mean? My son just graduated from there. So salute to you, General. You know what I mean? Daddy will see you soon. And so we got a little bit of something for everybody on Cultural Studies Night. Sports night. Everybody likes sports. We definitely gonna be back Saturday for the Clarissa Shields Laney Daniels championship fight. That's women's boxing. And we watch all sports, man. We salute everybody, man. So we're gonna be checking out the GWOT as she gets ready to defend her belts against Laney Daniels. And make sure y'all check that out. That's gonna be on July 26th, and it's gonna be on DAZN. So if you got DAZN, definitely check that out. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about the purgatory teams, man. The purgatory teams. Now, before we talk about purgatory teams, if you're a young buck, right, go ahead and get your grandpa, your uncle, somebody close to you. I'm going to tell you the first purgatory team that I can remember, man. And you know who they were? They were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, from like 1978 to 1984. You know what I mean? They had the whack uniforms. They was too bright. They had some type of pirate on the side of the helmets, and they was really whack, man. They was really whack. But what saved them was this man right here. Give me a second. Let me see if I can put this man on the screen real quick, because I know we did a subject on him last year, and there he is right there. Do y'all know who that man is right there? Do you know who that man is right there to my right? I'm gonna move him over a little bit, blow him up a little bit. You know who that man is right there? That's the first black Super Bowl quarterback champion. And I hate to say that, but man, it is what it is. It's cultural. It's Coffee Talk Podcast, Cultural Studies Night, and we giving love to ours. You know what I mean? Doug Williams was the dude that took that team out of purgatory when he beat the Washington Redskins. I want to say that was 86, 87. Let me know if I'm wrong. Put that in the comments. But I was 86, 87 that they went ahead and won the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, baby boy threw, and I apologize. Doug's older than me. So Big Bruh threw about 6 TD passes. You know what I mean? And that was the beginning of them getting out of purgatory. We're going to discuss a little bit more what we mean by what's purgatory. What's purgatory? You don't really hear that in terms of sports. You hear that in terms of church or religious things, and you know what I mean, that in that context. But yeah, let's go ahead and just talk about purgatory and what I did to even get that definition in the manner that I felt represent what I think of purgatory. We went online, man. So we went online. We did a AI overview of purgatory. So let me go ahead and read this before we talk a little bit about it. So what is a purgatory team? Well, a purgatory team, in context of professional sports, purgatory teams refer to teams that are stuck in a frustrating middle ground, not quite good enough to contend for a championship, but also not bad enough to secure a top draft pick. You know what I mean? Some of the key characteristics of being on a purgatory team is teams that are mediocre. They're just mediocre. They often might make the playoffs, and then they get bumped out, or they rarely even make the playoffs, or they lack top tier talent. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever heard of an athlete wanting to go or get selected in the first 1, 2, 3 picks and decides he doesn't want to play? One name that comes to mind is young Eli Manning. When he got drafted by San Diego Chargers, I think he went in the first or second round. I know he was the first quarterback off the board that year. And, he said, I ain't going to San Diego. And that's how he got to play for the New York Giants. And then there's the kid. I don't even remember his name, so I apologize. We'll remember his name once he gets the ball in this NBA season. But there was a kid, I want to say, went in the top 3 picks. And, speculation and allegedly, they say that the kid, the point guard, don't want to go to Utah. What's to say? I don't know. Last time I heard that he was going to go. You should go. You're getting paid, brother. You're creating generational wealth for your family playing a sport that you love. You know what I'm saying? So why not get to those teams? But I will say this on behalf of these athletes that are going into sports. I would say that, the Utahs, not so much the San Antonios because they've been a dynasty over there, but the Utahs, y'all may want to, change some of those laws down there. You're too stiff. Put a couple little entertainment complexes in there and let them serve their beer or whatever. I know you're a Mormon state, you know what I mean? But hey, man, people are going to do what they're going to do. And, that money will help with more things you may need in that country. Now, I get it. Money doesn't, I'm talking myself in a circle right now because religion is religion and money is money, and I'm just going to stay out of that. So, but hey, they need some entertainment down in Utah if you want to get some good players. That's all we're saying. You know what I'm talking about? Well. All right, so we know about what purgatory teams are, but let's go ahead and discuss some of the teams that came to mind when I was putting this all together. So some of the teams that came to mind when we were thinking about purgatory teams just in the last 10 years or so is the number one team of purgatoriness is the Washington Wizards. Yes, the Washington Wizards, formerly known as the Washington Bullets of the NBA Basketball League, association. And when I thought of the Washington Wizards, man, let me say this about their record before we just get too far. In the last, 5 years, okay, this is how they finished. And from 2020 to 2025, this is a purgatory team right here. Is the Washington Wizards, formerly known as the Washington Bullets. Hey, leave a comment, man. Leave a comment on what name sounds doper to you. You know what I mean? What team name of the Washington Wizards or Washington Bullets sound better to you? They changed the name because they thought that the Bullets would increase violence in DC. And, DC's always been a top 10 in violence anyway. And I'm not condoning violence, not at all. You know what I mean? But sometimes names just sound better. You know what I mean? Sometimes people take team names personal. We'll talk more about that, I'm sure. Especially when you talk about the Washington Redskins and teams like that. It depends. And I'm not here to judge and say that you shouldn't, because some of my native friends and family, they would say, we don't like Redskins being called the Washington Redskins. How would you like the Washington knee? You know what I mean? The N-words or whatever. But I thought, that's just a little sensitive, but again, I can't knock them for that. They do have a right to that, but I would love to see the Washington Redskins back instead of what are they called now? The Washington Commanders. They got the cold uniforms though, but I would love to see them as the Washington Redskins just because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have Cowboys, you're gonna have Indians, man. They go together, you know what I mean? Like left and right. But yeah, so speaking of the Washington Wizards, man, and being a purgatory team, I'm going to name some great players that ended up going to those teams. You know what I mean? Because something happened along the way. Either they got traded there, either they fell out with their last team, so it was punishment, or nobody was going to sign you, so you decided to go play with these Washington Wizards. But here's just a couple names, man. Now, mind you, I'm going to go back 5 years first on where they finished. Should we do that first and then do the names? Let's do that. So from 2020 to 2021, and this was their best year in the last 5 years, the Washington Wizards finished 8th in the Eastern Conference. That's right, 8th in the Eastern Conference. And they made the playoffs, y'all. Yeah, they made the playoffs. But they lost in the first round to the 76ers 4-1. That was back when they had, 5-game series? They still do that in the NBA, man? Or all the games, 7-game series? I'm not sure. But that's back when they had the 5-game series, winner takes all playoff format. So that was in 2020-21. They finished 8th. That was the best they've been in 5 years. From that point, they went on in the 22-23 season, or I'm sorry, the 21-22 season. They finished 17th in the Eastern Conference. No playoffs, no play-in game. Zada. They also, in 2022 through 2023, they finished 12th. No playoffs, no play-in game, no Zada. The year of 2022-2023 season, they finished 14th. No playoffs, no endorsement deals. Nobody want to see a damn commercial of the losing ass Wizards. They're a purgatory team, a purgatory. And so that was 23-24. And then the 24-25 season, which was just past season that just passed, they finished 15th. Again, no playoffs, no endorsement deals, no playing game. Zada. And so that's why I called them a purgatory team. If you know of a purgatory team, baby, put that in the chat, man. We'd love to hear about you, man. What purgatory teams you know of, man? Teams that just suck. You know what I mean? Pause. Hey, this is Coffee Talk Podcast Sports, Thursday night sports, man. And we just talking purgatory teams, sorry teams, man. Go ahead and leave that in the comment. All right, so I did want to say the names of those great players, though, that went there for either punishment or because nobody else would sign them, or they burnt a bridge with a team. So the presidents, CEOs, or whatever you want to call them, owners, whatever, sent a player to those teams for draft picks or whatever. But these are 4 honorable names, and then Michael Jordan will be the 5th one, and I'll explain that last. But here are some notable names that played for the Washington Wizards. Dwight Howard, Hall of Famer. C.J. McCollum, possibly a Hall of Famer. Not sure. He's never been on a winning franchise. Malcolm Brogdon, injury prone, but a great guard when he's not injured. Played for the Indiana Pacers. I believe he's a free agent right now, so I don't know where he's going to play at. And also Chris Middleton, another NBA champion. Him and Dwight Howard are NBA champions. They got rings, but yeah, they did play or are playing for Washington Wizards. I believe Chris Middleton just got traded there or something like that. Y'all are familiar with Chris Middleton. He was the shooting guard for the Milwaukee Bucks when Giannis, the Greek freak Antetokounmpo, won the NBA championship for Milwaukee. You know what I mean? Chris Middleton, yeah, he's down there. Yeah, he's down there, man. He's down there because he had that injury. I want to say it was a knee injury or something like that. And, once that knee goes, especially in basketball, the cutting, the stopping, you got to have that jump to get that jumper off or whatnot, or just to follow through in rotation. With an injury like his, man, you lose that. This is some of the reasons why Kawhi Leonard, doesn't play that many games at best. He played about 50 games a year out of the 82 schedule. I think this might have been his best year in quite some time, being on the court, earning this check. You know what I mean? Hats off to Kawhi Leonard. Is his name Kawhi Leonard? Yeah. I just want to make sure I'm not bugging. Y'all see I'm smoking on some Zaza. But also, just moving right along, and what I said, and the reason why I said I'll say Michael Jordan last is because Michael Jordan went over there under false pretense. Yeah, absolutely. It was false pretense. Allegedly, Michael Jordan was supposed to take over ownership or get the opportunity to buy the Washington Wizards. And when Mike came, they had a big grand of changing the jerseys to whatever. That dope dark royal blue and whatever. They were some dope unis. The new, the Washington Wizards uniforms. They went from the Washington Bullets jerseys to that because Mike was coming. But Mike gets a bad rap for playing for them because everybody says, "Oh, he was old." Well, I mean, he still averaged what it was. I want to say 20 a game. Y'all can look that up. Matter of fact, I'll be happy to look it up for you right now as a receipt to defend Mike. And I do want to say this about Jordan, though, man. Jordan played in all 82 games for the Wizards. Those is big dogs that can play all 82 games in the season. They don't do that no more. No, not no more. But all the Hall of Famers did. You know what I mean? But let's go to that. What was Michael Jordan's scoring average with the Washington Wizards? Can y'all see that? I'll bring it closer to the screen there. Yeah, man. Money averaged 21.2 points a game, man. 5.9 rebounds, 4.4 assists in 142 games in his Washington Wizards career. Shout out to Google for passing that along and AI for giving me those statistics. But going into more purgatory teams, man, as we get ready to wrap up this show, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about 3 football teams that just happen to be sorry sometimes, man, or most times. They're purgatory teams. I ain't going to bite my tongue just because some of the fans are my friends. They're purgatory teams. Hey, man, they are. They're purgatory. They're purgatory teams. Let's go ahead and start with my team, man. We ain't going to talk about them too long, so I may get offended. So we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. So it was 2007, man. And it hurts for me to even talk about this. But it was 2007. The Dallas Cowboys was playing the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC wildcard game. They were 19 yards away. No, let me change that. It was a 19-yard field goal attempt. Was it? A 19-yard field goal attempt, a chip shot against the Seattle Seahawks. And the quarterback that everybody likes to say, oh, he's the next Favre, and because he's a gunslinger through his passes. I think he was whacked, though. I think he was the sorriest quarterback in Cowboys history. I'm just saying, man. I'm a Cowboys fan. I can say that. Some people might be mad at me, but I can say that. Tell me who was the sorriest quarterback in Cowboy history. Go ahead and put that in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. All right, so the quarterback I'm talking about is Tony Romo. That's right, Tony Romo. So they're getting ready to kick the extra point, man. Cowboys is. And it was to go ahead and tie the game. They was losing 16-13 to the Seahawks. This is 2007. The hiker hikes the ball. Tony catches the ball. You know, he's the placeholder for the dude to kick the field goal. And the dude didn't even get a chance to kick the field goal because Tony Romo's ass fumbled the placehold. Make me mad a little bit. You hurt my feelings. Man, I hurt my feelings talking about that story. I did. I'm a Cowboys fan. You know it. But yeah, man. So one of the reasons why I chose my Cowboys to be a purgatory team, a sorry team, man, is because in 25 years, right? In 25 years, my Cowboys only made the playoffs 4 times. That's right, 4 times. We finally made the playoffs in 2023. But yeah, man, we only had 4 playoffs in 25 years. You know what I mean? And now we got Dak. Dak is the quarterback over there. And I nicknamed Dak Romo. Because yeah, he's a great quarterback. You know, he's just like Tony Romo. They put up great statistics throughout the season, but they just can't get it done, man. I think it's time to move on too from Dak. You know what I mean? I do, man. Because a part of me want to see Jerry get him a ring, man. We the Cowboys, we used to win. We were dominant in 90, 92, 93, 94. You know what I mean? So I just want to see that. You know, it's all about sports, man. You talking about nothing else involving Jerry, but we talking about sports, man, because this is Coffee Talk Podcast. So yeah, the Cowboys is one of the sorry teams, purgatory teams that I had to mention tonight when we were putting this show together. All right, let's talk about this other purgatory team, the New Orleans Saints. That's right. Some of y'all saying, no, don't include the Saints. I had to, man. Yeah, they did get a Super Bowl victory with Drew Brees. Hats off to Drew Brees for 2009, taking the New Orleans Saints to the Super Bowl. But the reason why I had to make them a purgatory team is because you know why? You know why? Because of the bounty. That's right, the bounty. Defensive coach Greg Williams was the defensive coordinator at the time, and he was charged, y'all, for orchestrating the bounty program. So what is the bounty program? That's when he had the New Orleans Saints, man. They will receive reward, extra money, extra incentives to knock out a player or had the player carted off the field, man. They wasn't playing. Yeah. Imagine that, man. Don't that sound like some video game shit? Like you know, when you had your old school video game where you can hurt the players on purpose. You had a PlayStation. They didn't even call it a PlayStation 1. They just called it a PlayStation, where you can just run a guy into another guy and he'd be hurt if he was playing any football video game. But anyway, yeah, man. So that was the bounty program that you know, people found out, public figures, the law, the NFL investigators, they had found out that Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator for the Saints, was paying dudes extra incentives to knock players out and have them carted off the field. Head coach Sean Payton also was charged back then for knowing about it. He knew about the bounty. He just didn't do nothing about it. He didn't care. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was your New Orleans Saints, man. And the bounty lasted as long as 2009, 2010, and 2011. The team was fined $500,000, and they lost some second-round picks for a couple years. So that's the New Orleans Saints. That's another purgatory team. I ain't seen them do nothing since. They do got some cool uniforms. They got great fans, but I haven't seen them do anything since. But hats off to the New Orleans Saints. Now, I can't end the show without talking about this team. This team will break your heart, man. This team is like a girl that one minute she loves everything about you, then the next minute she can't stand you, then the next minute she comes back after the bipolar goes away and she likes you, or then the next minute kicks back in and she don't like you. I want to talk about the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, the Minnesota Vikings. Damn it. Some of my friends are going to be mad, man, because they're big Vikings fans. You know, I like the Vikings, too. They're my second team. You know, I like them in twos, man. Come on now. Yeah, the Vikings is my second team. Cowboys is my first team. But listen, they're both purgatory teams. No doubt. So I'm going to take you back with this story, man, and how the Vikings have never been the same, man. So it was January 17th, 1988, man. It was the NFC Championship game. Winner goes to the Super Bowl. Wade Wilson was the quarterback, man. He threw this little slant pass to running back Darren Nelson. Darren Nelson was this little short shit, man. No diss to Darren Nelson, but he was a little short shit. He was only like 5'2" at the running back position. But anyway, man, he got hit by Hall of Famer and possibly, arguably, one of the number one cornerbacks in football, Darryl Green. Darryl Green caused a fumble near the end zone, and the Vikings lost their opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. Then it was 1998. That's right, 1998. My favorite coach in Viking history, Dennis Green, Took the Vikings, they were 16-0 at the time. Took the Vikings to the NFC Championship game where they lost to the Atlanta Falcons 30-27. But how they lost? Oh, man, it was so bad. You know what I mean? Yeah, y'all remember. Don't try to act like you don't. Well, anyway, the Minnesota Vikings, man, they had this kicker by the name of Gary Anderson. Now, Gary Anderson was a legendary kicker in the NFL. The Vikings got him at the tail end of his career. The dude was like 42 years old, but his leg was so strong. He was a great kicker. The field goal kicker, he made 39 straight field goals that season, and he made 67 out of 67 attempts at just the extra point. The dude was solid. He didn't miss nothing. You know what I mean? This particular time, man, to go ahead and I want to say win the game, was it, y'all? Let me know. Or was it just to tie it? I believe it was to win the game. No, they lost 30-27. I don't know how it would have went. But the Vikings were supposed to win it or tie the game. Y'all let me know. And Gary Anderson missed a 38-yard field goal, man. After the Minnesota Vikings had an undefeated season. You know, they were 15-16-0 going into that game. They had Randy Moss. They had Cole Pepper. Oh, they had a squad, man. You know what I mean? Well, with that being said, hey, that's our show for tonight. This is Coffee Talk Podcast Sports. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let us know what teams are still sorry. Some of y'all gonna put it in the mic is sorry. Y'all go ahead and let us know, man, what teams deserve to be on the purgatory list of sorry teams. These are teams that either make the playoffs and get knocked out the first round, or they don't make the playoffs or the playing game, if you're speaking in NBA terms, or they just never get the draft pick. The Timberwolves was like that for a long time before they got, Kevin Garnett, the big ticket. And then after the big ticket, we never would get a good player again. Cat. What was Cat fifth, sixth round pick? You know what I mean? And then we got Ant-Man. Ant-Man was the number one pick. Ant-Man is one of the faces of the NBA. But yeah, go ahead and let us know what purgatory team should have made the list. Go ahead and put that in the comments. We really, really appreciate y'all, man. We back. This is Coffee Talk Podcast. This is Thursday Night Sports. I am your host, Mashuma Saba. Excuse me. M. Saba. And this is the Cultural Variety Podcast Show. We'll see y'all this weekend. Peace.